Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus camera test. Peace be upon you, my dear friends and followers of the channel. How are you today? I hope you are well and in good health. Today with you is a beautiful, new and important video for everyone. This video will be called the Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus camera test. But before watching the video, subscribe to the channel and like and share so that it reaches the largest number of people. Now let's watch the video and I hope you like it. We put the Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus through rigorous benchmark camera tests to measure its performance in photo and video quality and zoom from an end-user perspective. This article explains the device's performance in a variety of tests and several common use cases and aims to highlight the most important results of our testing with a snippet of the data captured. Overview. Main camera specifications. Primary camera, 48MP, f/1.48 f/4.0 24mm equivalent lens, auto-adjustable, autofocus, optical image stabilization, OIS. Ultra-wide camera, 40MP, f/2.2 aperture, 13mm equivalent, optical image stabilization, OIS, optical image stabilization, OIS, optical image stabilization, OIS. Telephoto cameras, 48MP, f/3.0 aperture, 90mm equivalent, optical image stabilization, OIS, optical image stabilization, OIS. Pros. Ultra-wide dynamic range, accurate exposure for portraits and landscape shots. Beautiful colors in most conditions. Good balance between texture and noise in images and zooms, very good detail and low noise levels. Fast and accurate autofocus, fairly effective video stabilization. Variable aperture allows for enhanced depth of field for every scene. Nice blur effect and precise subject isolation in portrait mode. Nice macro perspective, thanks to the use of 3.5x zoom. Cons: loss of detail in high contrast and low light videos, noise in indoor videos and low light videos with movement. Face contrast and skin tone could be better in difficult backlit scenes, light clipping in some high contrast scenes. Side effects including ghosting, color shifting, or color quantization in photos and videos. The Mate 60 Pro Plus is Huawei's latest flagship device in the Mate Pro series that continues to test the limits of high-performance smartphone cameras. Thanks to updated imaging hardware and Huawei's expertise in imaging software, the Mate 60 Pro Plus achieved excellent results in the benchmark camera tests, taking first place in our ranking. The Huawei device is the best device we have tested so far for still photography, delivering great image results in all use cases. Our testers were particularly impressed by the excellent balance between detail retention and noise reduction, accurate subject exposure, wide dynamic range, and pleasant color rendition. When shooting in low light, exposure remained pleasing and the level of detail captured remained high. With a variable aperture that optimizes depth of field for each scene, the Mate 60 Pro Plus is also an excellent choice for group photos, achieving good sharpness for all subjects in the frame. Additionally, its ability to freeze action and reduce motion blur, as well as its fast shutter response, make it easy to capture the decisive moment in moving scenes. Still image results were excellent not just when using the primary camera but across most parts of the zoom range, from the widest 13mm setting to around 150mm where texture started to become softer. With great detail, low noise, a reliable autofocus system, and wide dynamic range, Huawei's ultra-wide camera was the best we've tested yet. Telephoto results in the mid-range were also excellent, with nice texture and low noise, even in low-light images. Like its higher-end rivals the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max and Google Pixel 8 Pro, the Mate 60 Pro Plus was tested in HDR video mode. Video stabilization was among the best we've seen, and results were generally excellent for most video subtests, making the Mate 60 Pro Plus a great choice for recording motion pictures. However, there is significant room for improvement in video quality attributes such as texture and noise when compared to best-in-class video hardware. Please note that images are taken by default in Huawei's proprietary HDR format. Images with their HDR capabilities can be viewed on some of the latest Huawei smartphones and tablets, using the latest Huawei operating system. However, Huawei's own system is not widely compatible with other Android devices, including even some Huawei devices, such as laptops. We also do not have the visualization tools needed to evaluate Huawei's HDR format, and therefore, our evaluations were performed using an SDR visualization workflow. Friends and family. The Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus is an ideal smartphone for taking photos and videos of friends and family, ranking first in our corresponding ranking. Motion blur and ghosting effects were very well under control when shooting moving scenes, allowing for precise capture of the decisive moment. Our testers rarely noticed blending artifacts in difficult high-contrast scenes. Low lighting. The Mate 60 Pro Plus was also among the best devices tested so far in terms of low light capabilities. In low light conditions, the camera delivered a wide dynamic range, allowing for good detail in both light and shadow areas of the frame. Image noise was well under control and images showed high levels of detail as well as offering natural texture, even when shooting at night. In shooting mode, the Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus achieved the best result among all the devices tested so far, thanks to excellent results that were on par with or better than the best competitors in almost all subtests. Testers were particularly impressed by the excellent balance between texture and noise, the fast and accurate autofocus and wide depth of field made possible by Huawei's f/1.4a 4.0 variable aperture. Additionally, exposure was accurate, with a wide dynamic range, in all test conditions, and color rendition was mostly accurate, with only occasional slight color tinting. The simulated bokeh effect in portrait mode was nice, with very accurate depth estimation and subject isolation, and in macro mode the Mate 60 Pro Plus was able to capture good detail and nice perspective, thanks to taking advantage of the 3.5x telephoto camera. The device also performed well in the preview category, where the preview image on the device's screen, in terms of subject exposure and light retention, was closer to the final capture than the previously tested P60 Pro. Close-up photography. Macro shooting is the third new usage score introduced with XMark version 5. It evaluates the camera's ability to capture detail at distances of less than 10 centimeters and magnification as close as possible to 1:1. Using the telephoto camera in macro mode, the device delivered pleasingly close-up shots, with nice perspective compression. In our macro tests, white balance instability and motion blur on moving objects can have a negative impact on image quality, but the camera captured good details that were presented in a natural way. The camera was able to accurately expose the subject in all lighting conditions. In addition, exposure was stable across a series of consecutive shots. Our testers found that the Mate 60 Pro Plus S camera produces an extremely wide dynamic range. However, some light cropping was observed in high contrast scenes. In backlit scenes, the Mate 60 Pro Plus can struggle with contrast on objects, making them too flat. In our tests, colors were generally well rendered. White balance was particularly nice in low light, producing a nice warm color. In typical indoor lighting, skin tones can sometimes be oversaturated, resulting in a slightly unnatural rendering. Overall, our testers noticed slight instability in white balance across all test conditions, with slightly inconsistent results across a series of consecutive shots. Thanks to variable aperture, the Mate 60 Pro Plus is able to optimize depth of field for any scene. In group shots, Huawei produced a wider depth of field than its competitors, allowing for good sharpness of all objects. With fast and accurate autofocus in all lighting conditions, the Mate 60 Pro Plus was able to capture the decisive moment in moving scenes. In our tests, the Mate 60 Pro Plus captured high levels of detail and images while delivering natural texture. Excellent real-life results are confirmed by objective measurements in the laboratory. In our tests, the Mate 60 Pro Plus kept image noise under control very well in all testing conditions. Brightness noise reduction was effective, even in normal colored areas. However, sometimes it can also lead to color quantization and color noise. Our testers occasionally noticed unwanted artifacts, such as blending artifacts, ghosting, and color shift, in our Mate 60 Pro Plus test samples, especially when shooting high contrast scenes. The Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus is an excellent choice for emulating the look of a DSLR in bokeh mode. In our tests, it provided good depth estimation, realistic bokeh, and fairly good detail in both single and group photos. Captured images also showed good exposure in most conditions, and highlights were better than most competitors, thanks to accurate shapes and colors, even in night shots. Only in some bokeh shots our experts detected some subject isolation errors. Our experts found the preview on the Mate 60 Pro Plus to be significantly improved compared to the P60 Pro. However, it's still not at the same level as the class-leading iPhone 14 Pro. Our testers noticed several differences between the preview and final capture, especially in bokeh mode, where depth estimation was significantly different in the preview, with blur often applied to objects. On the plus side, exposure of the preview subject was very accurate in most conditions and close to the captured image. However, this wasn't true for dynamic range, which was more limited in the preview. In addition to the outstanding image quality of the primary camera, the Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus also delivered exceptional results with both its telephoto and ultra-wide modules. Huawei's results in the wide category were the best of all the devices tested so far, thanks to rich detail and very effective noise reduction which, unlike most competitors, didn't seem to have a negative impact on fine detail and texture. The autofocus system worked reliably, and images showed a wide dynamic range, nice skin tones, and accurate white balance. However, our testers also noticed some small artifacts. Distortion, objects near the edge of the frame appear stretched, wasn't always corrected, and some slight ringing and aliasing was noticeable at the high contrast edges of the frame. Color shift can be observed around cropped areas in bright skies. Overall, the Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus took very nice photos across most of its zoom range, from the widest 13mm to around 150mm. At longer telephoto settings, images became noticeably softer. Some competitors, including the Huawei P60 Pro, are better at long-range telephoto shooting, thanks to faster apertures in their telephoto lens. The Mate 60 Pro Plus S telephoto camera only offers a relatively slow f/3 aperture. However, image quality was excellent in the medium range, especially between 70mm and 150mm. At this range, texture rendering was beautiful, especially in portraits, and noise levels remained low, even in low light. Zoom in on the video. When zooming in during video recording, the frame shift between the primary camera and the ultra-wide unit was convincing, but our experts noticed some jumps in exposure and white balance. Overall, the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max delivered better results with smoother transitions between the camera modules. The Huawei Mate 60 Pro Plus comes with HLG HDR video mode, HDR Vivid, which provided the best overall results and was therefore activated for our video test. Both comparison devices, the P60 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max, were tested in HDR mode as well. Overall, the Mate 60 Pro Plus couldn't match the best-in-class iPhone 15 Pro Max and Google Pixel 8 Pro, but it was still among the best smartphones tested so far for video recording. Video stabilization was particularly good, providing excellent motion compensation. Scores in all other video test categories were also excellent, but Huawei fell slightly behind the best-in-class in most of them. Dynamic range in videos was generally wide, with bright highlights retained in high-contrast scenes, especially when recording in daylight or under typical indoor lighting. Target exposure was generally accurate, even in difficult backlit scenes. However, unlike the top-of-the-line iPhone 15 Pro Max, Huawei showed some minor contrast issues at times. Target exposure on faces remained good in low light, including dark skin tones. However, some minor adaptation issues can sometimes be noticed during scene transitions. Video white balance was accurate in daylight and indoor conditions. Colors, including skin tones, were generally accurate in recorded video footage. Video texture measurements were high under all in vitro testing conditions. This is generally confirmed by our real-world results, including on faces. However, our testers noticed a lack of detail in high dynamic range or backlit scenes. In the lab, we also occasionally saw floating texture traces when holding the device by hand to record. Video noise was generally under control in still scenes, including our lab tests. However, noise can be difficult to control in HDR video format, and in some real-life scenes we notice noise in scenes with movement or light transitions. Video stabilization is one of the Mate 60 Pro Plus's main strengths. It worked very well, even when walking or running while recording. Camera shake was well under control and unwanted artifacts were kept to a minimum. During our video tests, a range of unwanted artifacts were observed, including color shift near cropped areas, significant aliasing and occasional ghosting in videos with moving objects. Unlike the class-leading iPhone 15 Pro Max, the Mate 60 Pro Plus doesn't deliver a high frame rate of 60 fps in daylight and indoor lighting conditions. At the end of the video, I thank you for watching and I hope you liked it, and see you in a new video.